Welcome to the Festival of Entrepreneurs, recorded live at the NEC in Birmingham. Over the next few minutes, you'll hear from some of the most incredible founders, investors, and business leaders who joined us this year.
When you approach, let's say, a PR company, how do you know that, let's say he was to approach you, that he'd be a good fit for you? And how did you know they would be a good fit for you? Because it's all about selling each other, but you've got to work in synergy. How do you find out, yeah, I can help you and I can help you grow? Or do you turn a lot of people down?
I absolutely love speaking with people to hear why they have started their business. And that's why it is never too early to do PR for your business. So it's sitting down with a potential client and just talking through what are they trying to achieve in their business and how can PR and communications help support that. And speaking to so many different entrepreneurs here today, the reasons why they've started up, the people they're trying to help, what they're trying to do, those are your key stories that I can then help you tell within the public domain, be it on that podcast or at an event or within the media. So yeah, I just love getting to know people. And then from there, we can decide whether, we would be a good fit for each other.
I think that good fit is really important because when you're working, it's like anything in business. You want to work with like-minded people, even though you've got different areas of expertise. So what we look for in our agency, we particularly love disruptive entrepreneurs. So those who are shaking up their sector in some shape or form. And then thought leaders, because when you think about it, when you've got something new, innovative, or a new way of even thinking, and you're trying to change behavior or educate people, then again, the press is a great way to help you amplify your message and, get known.
So I used to get like 100 emails a day from PR companies, to sell their client or put them on the radio or TV show. But I also get, for example, his golf, I'm using you again, sorry, because I know what you do. Your golf clothing company, if he was to email me, because he got my email address, because everyone's accessible through Instagram, LinkedIn, he said, I've done this. I would still pay attention to that and put it on the radio if I thought it was great. So does everybody need a PR person if we can now directly approach the press ourselves?
Obviously, we're going to say yes, but I think when I have worked with entrepreneurs, small business owners, they genuinely don't know where to start when it comes to this. They don't necessarily appreciate they can get Punam's email address and email her directly. And then speaking with my journalist colleagues, 100 emails, 200, 300 emails a day. How do you make your story stand out? How do you write your press release well so that it's actually going to be opened and read, which will then hopefully lead to your media opportunities. So yes, I think I have an accountant because I don't do business finance. I have an accountant. But equally, Alice and I are the PR experts, so we can help you with your profile raising. So you can do it yourself or you can work with us to do it even better.
No, but I agree. There's a different skill when I get an email from a PR and from an entrepreneur. I was just putting you out there because people do it, but I wanted to show the skills that PR people actually have that we as journalists pay attention to as well.
I would just say, I do think if you can do it yourself, you should. Until you get to that point where you're so busy when you should be doing what you really are an expert in. At that point, outsource it or bring in someone to your team who can do that and who genuinely enjoys it. Going back to your point about going directly to the journalists, I think a lot of people try it, but then they never hear back. And if you don't hear back from a journalist, it puts people off. You are very good.
I reply to every single email, even if it's a no. But I know
you are very good. I know you're very good, but a lot of journalists don't. And so it can be quite soul destroying if you're not hearing back from people, and you think no one's interested, and that's usually not the case. They may well be interested, but they're just too busy at that point. And it's a lot of it in PR is timing, isn't it? Is getting to the right people at the right time. If you don't know that, you can easily be put off.
So, for example, a big event coming up is the menopause month, which is October. So all I'm getting is loads of people talking about breast cancer, doctors, they want to put them on the radio. So you need to stay alert with what's happening during the year, because that's when we're looking at for those stories generally, a lot of the press. I wanted to say, Sarah, can you share some key strategies that constantly deliver results for your clients that you use all the time?
Yeah, and I work a lot with people starting out. Alice has alluded to the fact if you can do it yourself, do it yourself. So that is where I come in with my press program. So I help entrepreneurs map out their PR. So starting with the planning, how does it align to their business goals, messaging, audience identification, before we even get into the fun stuff like going on Punam's radio show. But again, the key thing for me is planning and working out what you want to do over the next sort of 90 days, 6 months, a year, and then that brings your focus down. So I think that's really fundamental and really key for anybody doing their PR.
Alison, how about AI? It makes me nervous, but how can AI help companies with their positioning, and how has it changed the whole land? I mean, it's changing the landscape for everybody, but how has it changed for PR?
Okay, so we are using AI. It would be silly not to.
In what capacity?
In idea creation, in just thinking things through. We don't rely on it 100%, and you shouldn't. So, if we're writing a press release, then we might use it to guide us. Just to cover, it's like having another person in the room, a very clever one. So, we'll use it to sort of help us, but we don't rely on it completely. But I think when it comes to, you touched on positioning. So I don't know. Can I get a hands up on who understands really what positioning is? Yeah, it's one of those marketing terms that is bandied around. All it means really is you want to get to a point where you can write a statement, a bit like an elevator pitch, where you're saying who you are in terms of your business, unless you're a personal brand, but who you are, what you do, how do you help people or businesses, what are you doing, and why. So if you remember those fundamentals, and the more clear you can get with those statements, so a statement on each of those, and then you pull it together in one long statement. But it's a way of, the more clear you are in who you are and what you do and how you help people, that will work wonders when it comes to going to the press. Because to get the attention of a journalist, literally, if you're calling a journalist the old-fashioned way, you've got to get to the point quite quickly, right?
Yeah, I don't want long paragraphs. I literally want a one paragraph that makes it stand out, going, oh my God, I want this person on the show. But okay, so as a journalist, I've interviewed a lot of well-known people in the public eye. I'm kind of tired of them now. And the reason being is because there's a lot of charlatans online, right? Selling themselves for anything and everything. And then there's really authentic people with credibility. So for example, let me give you an example of a so-called wellness guru or whatever, who's apparently was a monk for 2 years in a cave. No, he wasn't. Massive, right? I won't say his name. I refused to interview him because I have my reasons about authenticity. How does that play in PR today? Because anyone can be anyone online, and people are outed on a regular basis with no credibility. Are you do you have to be more careful who you take on? That's what I'm trying to say as well.
Yeah, and it comes back to doing your due diligence on your clients as well. I've worked some really brilliant clients, but when I sit down to one-to-one, we'll start to get a feel for each other about what your story happens to be. And I always tell when I'm doing my training is you will be found out if you can't, you can put all the stories out that you want. If they're not true, if they're not accurate, you will get found out further down the line. And then that is the issue for you in terms of your personal reputation. So I think the majority of people are very genuine, that I don't like the word authentic, but they're very authentic in what they do and who they're trying to help. And that's great for your PR approach. But yeah, if there's anything shady going on, you will get found out. But that's the risk if you want to take it. They'll not be with me or Alison, obviously.
Yeah, no, I don't really have a lot to say more on that. But I think years ago, it was a lot easier to hide things. But today, with social media...
So we're hiding things as PR agents. It's kind of like exaggerating on your CV, isn't it, PR? You would say that, yeah?
Yeah, and some companies do get bad press. Something goes wrong. I think anyone in business at some point something might go wrong, and it might be a small thing or it could be quite a big significant thing. So generally in PR, look, I don't like working with anyone who's suddenly fraudulent or anything like that. But like I said, sometimes hiccups happen. And so then what you want to do is, because it all stays online, you've got to try and bury that bad news some way. So with good news stories. So it's a thing, yes, we do that. But yeah, I mean, from an ethical point of view, I certainly don't want to work with anyone who's, dodgy.
Sarah, the press program, tell me about that, because are you're helping leaders and the way they communicate, right?
Yeah, so Press is my bespoke program that I have designed specifically for small business owners and entrepreneurs. So it's Press, Plan, Reach, Engage, Story, and Shine. So it's how you plan your PR, how you identify your audience, sort out your messaging, and then before we get into the actual fun bit of doing the actual PR tactics of social media, e-newsletters, going on the media, that kind of thing. So it's worked really, really well. And again, it's for people who don't necessarily have those big budgets to bring on a retainer agency, and it just gives you the skills that you need. And I think once you learn those basics, when you do get to the point where you can start to use an agency, you will understand PR better. You will understand if they're doing you a good service or not, and really help you grow that way. So yes, Press is a monthly online model. There's a bespoke hub. We have a weekly call with myself, and then going through things like how to write a press release and how to pitch to podcasts, assets that you need in place as a business owner to raise your profile. So it's really great. There's a lovely community building in that as well. So it's something I'm really enjoying delivering.
Talking about budget, you just mentioned, I have no idea, let's say if I wanted to promote something, and I've always thought about hiring a PR person, but I've never known how much I'm supposed to pay. And I know there's no strict cost or anything, but is there an average that we need to look at to know that you're not getting ripped off in some capacity? Or do you do like 3 months or 6 months or a year? Because I have no understanding of it.
I think it really depends. And I've had a lot of conversations with my independent PR colleagues, with agencies, and it can start from £75 an hour, £500 a day, upwards from there. I've known agencies to charge £650 to write your press release. That doesn't include sending it. Retainer rates for a London agency could be £1,500 a day. So it really just depends on what you need at a point in time and potentially where they're based.
I would just say, yes, it's something or everything. It just varies so much. I mean, I'll be very transparent with our agency. We work with startups to scale ups. So, we work on a monthly minimum retainer of 3 months, but then it's month by month, because I just hate the thought of locking people in to long contracts. If it's not a good fit, you'll see after 3 months. But our sort of retainer rates go from £1,000 a month upwards. So it's kind of affordable for startups, I would say.
You are a serial entrepreneur. You had your own company before. You weren't a PR agent before. How did you promote yourself originally as an entrepreneur? Or did you have a PR company?
No. So I'm definitely a business PR person. Back in 2000 or late 90s, and sure there's some people in the room who are like, no, it wasn't around then. So it was the .com boom, right? And there were people starting up these websites. And I thought, oh, that sounds like a really good idea. And I think it's a really long story, so I'll cut to the short one. I started up an online business selling artisanal Italian food. So all the lovely olive oils, cheeses, hams, and things, really beautiful food products. And we sold them online on the website. How do we get people to the website? I had no clue at first, but I quickly understood that journalists were really interested in what we were doing. And so I used to invite all the journalists from the FT to the Sunday Times to the Times to our unit in London so that they could try all the beautiful products. And then they would go away and write about them. And not only that, they were sort of telling people where to find them, which was only on our website. What I did then was, because still people were scared about buying online, we started educating people and informing them how to do it safely, because that was a problem back then. How do you put in your credit card details and not, get ripped off? So it was a real educational piece. But again, I didn't pay for any of that. That was all free earned editorial from the journalists. It wasn't overnight. It took a while to find out who they all were and how to get hold of them. But if I could do it, you can do it. It is possible. And definitely, if you've got an advisor helping you, holding your hand to do that, absolutely grab it. It's well worth the time, the investment.
And also, for me as a journalist, we're always looking for stories, especially ones that haven't even been publicized anywhere online or in the press. So if you're an entrepreneur or a business to have an idea, contact anyone. Don't be afraid. I've contacted the biggest celebrities to get an interview via Instagram. They're always looking to get promoted. Everybody's trying to sell something today. So we are always on the lookout for brilliant stories and unique stories and local stories. So don't ever think, oh, I can't email this CEO or LinkedIn or this journalist. You can. You just don't know, who's looking for you. Also, so many founders are now building their own personal brand. I think if you look at somebody like Richard Branson, he has so many products, but he's a brand in himself, okay? So how do you balance the positioning between the personal person and he's still promoting his businesses and products? Because they're totally different as well.
Okay. So I love mixing the two. For me, when you're building a personal profile, you're still talking, you're still representing your business. And so it's very important to remember that, by the way, because obviously if you then go off and do something or say something, don't forget that it will reflect back and could have a knock-on effect on your business. So, once an entrepreneur, you are, tied to the reputation of your business. But I think, by going out, speaking on stage, going onto podcasts, this is all, great way to raise awareness of your business, because you're sharing about perhaps your journey on the, entrepreneurial path, or how you got to where you are today, or you're sharing great advice and value, the way that you help your clients. So, this is all good for your business. And don't forget also that people buy people. So, we have relationships with each other. We build, we start conversations and build relationships along those lines. So I think, again, it's a great way to get.
We're talking about people and people. So I have to now train a lot of CEOs who have never ever had to speak on camera, only with the start. And they're really nervous for social media. How important is video content these days in the PR landscape?
Definitely getting more important. And again, when I'm working people, there's a lot of, I don't want to show my face. I don't like how I look. I don't like how I like how I sound. So it's my job just to say, get over it. You need to be doing it. And again, it's about preparation. That's what Alison and I are here to help you with. So if you have an event, it's who's your audience, what are you going to say, mapping out how you're going to say it, and then practicing. So again, you can overcome those nerves. You reframe them as as excitement. But yeah, there's a lot of reticence about, even I don't want to do my stories on Instagram. Well, again, it's about people will connect with you, and it's about what difference you can make in their lives. It's not about you necessarily. So you can have like a business persona to do the socials potentially. It's very much different to doing your own personal social media as well. So I think, yeah, video is more important, particularly with YouTube, and you'd be more of a search engine. So I would really encourage people to consider it. And if you are nervous about it, well, practice with a trusted friend. I get the dog. The dog has to listen to a lot of my presentations. He's not impressed. But again, it's speaking out loud, it's practicing, and then you can amend it. And once you've done it once, you'll not look back.
It's true. I had to train one guy. It took me 7 hours to do a 2-minute video with him. He was so nervous. Now he does 4 in 2 hours. And it is just practice. And I think it's one of those things, you have to stay true to yourself. Don't try and copy and paste somebody else online. What is your sense of humor? What is your personality? Is there a top 3 tips you'd give to any entrepreneurs when approaching a PR or choosing a PR company? What are some of the companies that you represent, in case anyone here has any synergy with it?
Yeah, I've done a lot of PR training. I did PR training with the Government of Bermuda Press Office one afternoon, regrettably from my living room in County Down, Northern Ireland, not in person. I'd worked with the Met County Terrorism Team. I have worked with agencies, small businesses. For example, in the press membership, I have a lady who delivers first aid. So it's a first aid business, very small business. I have career coaches within it, and I have business networkers as well. So a whole range of clients that I have worked with. But I suppose my top tips are, number 1, do some PR. It's not too early wherever you are in your business journey. I think you need to, second tip would be to plan it out as far as you can and don't keep that scattergun approach. And my final tip would be, again, when it comes to video, is just do it. You take that first step, take that action, and you will be that next step along then in your journey. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, well, you just come back at it with a different angle the next day. So something will work for you. But PR is so fundamentally important for your reputation. I would really encourage everybody to think about it.
I would just add to that, if you can get a referral, get a recommendation from someone that you trust. Have they worked with them before? Or ask for evidence of other clients that they've worked with, so you can see, are they getting into the media that you want to get into? Or rather, what you want to get into is more important, I think. Where's your target audience hanging out? What are they reading? What are they listening to? What are they watching? Because that's where you want to be. So seek out people, PR independents or agencies who can help you, who've got that experience, and have lots of chats with them. Are you a good fit? Do you get on? Because you're working quite closely together. So,
Also, another thing is, I remember I spoke to a company who'd worked with a PR company and said, what are they like to work with? So I kind of went behind my back, because you want to know if you're paying somebody, they're going to do a good job for you as well.
And it's all about results as well. I worked a lot in-house in my career for a lot of different types of organisations, and I've seen agencies produce a plan or document that I wouldn't have accepted personally. So again, you've got to understand what PR is and what you can expect from them as well. But yeah, that recommendation piece is so important, particularly when there's different agencies. That you'll have tech specialists, you'll have environmental agency specialists, so it depends what niche your business is in, and work with an agency or an independent who will have the connections that you need within that area will be really important too.
I really appreciate it. If anybody wants to talk to Alison and Sara, please do. And anyone wants to chat to me, please do. Send me your free products. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.
Thanks for watching this special episode from the Festival of Entrepreneurs. Our mission is simple: to help founders and business owners grow faster, think bigger, and take action. And if you were part of the event, thank you for joining us and being part of the community. And if you missed it, don't worry. We'll be back with even more ideas, inspiration, and opportunities to help you take your business to the next level. You can find out more and register for future events at festivalofentrepreneurs.co.uk.